Hey everybody, so today is episode 5. We are actually going into the tactical for potty training. Very excited about this, but as I mentioned in my previous episode, this is the second part of the potty training your child with autism process. We want to make sure that we're listening to both episodes so we can get the most out of doing all of the tactical. So as I kind of work through series like these, I'm going to make sure that we do them always in two parts. One on talking about our mindset around the goal that we're looking for, and in this case it's potty training, and then the second one, the actual tactical. Don't mind my cats. We have some visitors today. We have some special podcast visitors and my cats. But let's get cranking because I always try and make these short and sweet. So as a quick recap to what I had talked about in the previous podcast is we really want to get clear in our potty thinking when it comes to potty training our children. If we're setting ourselves up for this to be a very difficult nightmare experience, and that's exactly what we're going to get. I can look at potty training and saying this is going to be messing, this is going to be disgusting, this is going to take us forever, my kid's not going to get it. Or I could look at it and say, wow, this is an opportunity for me to teach this amazing life skill. And I could look at it like I am teaching them how to ride a bike or teaching them how to, brush their hair. It's my choice in how I want to look at the task at hand and the kind of energy that I want around it. So for me, when it came to potty training, as I explained in the last episode, it was not the great glorious of experiences because I had so many shit thoughts around it. And but one of the things I can say is that it was never optional in my mind, autism or not, that she be able to potty train. So it was mandatory in my mind that she had to be potty trained. So even though I made the experience really shitty for myself and my kids, because I did it with my neurotypical son as well, at the end of the day, there was never an option to quit. And I love that, but I would love that with a different thought about the process completely to begin with. So definitely not one of my finest moments when it came as a mother when I'm raising my own children. Hopefully I've made it up and then some, helping many families potty train their children with this podcast, and hopefully I know hopefully definitely with all the families that have come through my group coaching program, because we have 100% success rate in there. Now any one child leaves without being potty trained. If you're working on it actively with me, you work on it and you leave with a potty trained child. So okay, so on to today's details, which is on the tactical. So once we figured out, yes, I'm going to choose to my thinking around potty training. I want to feel good about it. I want to think this is going to be an exciting experience. One of the things you're going to hear me talk about today is how not only are we creating a Disney World experience, we're going to tell our child about this beautiful potty party we're going to have, and we're both going to be a part of it. It's going to be a Disney World experience for them, and I'm going to feel so differently than I thought I would when we get going with this. So the first thing you need to do when you're ready to potty train your child on the spectrum is we want to make sure that they're showing potty readiness signs. So some examples of this are them staying dry in their diaper for 2 hours or more, regular bowel movements, so bowel movements that are pretty consistent, not terribly horrible constipation where they're bowled over in pain, they can't, it's really affecting their behavior, and no diarrhea. This is another thing we talk about in the program. We want to get our babies as solid in that department as possible before we potty train them. We want to make sure there's no pain associated with it. We want to make sure there's no cramping and then trying to rush to the bathroom before you have a diarrhea accident. So we want to have consistent regular bowel movements. It does not need to be every day, and you do not need to be alarmed if your child pooped every day. Both of my kids pooped every day, and then once we potty trained, they stopped pooping every day. And it got more constipated, but that was okay as long as we can get some consistent bowel movements. Doesn't have to be every day, even if it's every couple of days, that's fine. We want to make sure that our babies are have the ability to follow simple instructions. That's super important. We're going to have them, follow the, a timer. We're going to have them sit. We're going to pull down their pants. We want to make sure that they can follow those simple steps, even if they do need some prompting and support with it. We want to see if the child doesn't like to be wet or dirt or have a poop-filled diaper, like if they try and take it off, or even if they try and grab the poop out of the diaper and throw it on the floor. These are signs that children are ready to potty train. If they're pulling at their pants, pulling up and down. I was talking to my neighbor a couple weeks ago. She's got like I'd say he's about 2.5, and then while we're all talking, he keeps putting his hands in his pants, and he was, I guess, moving his peanut around because it was a big wet diaper. And she's like, "Oh, I know, it's time." I'm like, he's ready to potty train. I don't know if you knew, but he's ready to potty train. Yeah, no, I know, I got to do it. I'm just having thoughts on it. It happens to neurotypical moms too. So, but yeah, so if they're pulling at their pants, messing around down there, these are also signs they're ready to potty train. And of course, if they're requesting to use the toilet or wear underwear, that's always a fabulous sign that they want to be like you and they want to learn how to potty train. And another one, which you've seen so many times, it's crazy, is when they request the pull up to take a shit in it. That is a definite sign that we are ready to potty train. So, do you need all of these signs? Absolutely not. You can just need one and a hunch. I'll call it one and a hunch, and we're good to go. So, like, listen, if my child can stay dry for, and how you know this is like, well, I don't know if the diaper's dry. You're going to check it every hour. It's like, okay, I'm going to check it every hour. Is there a couple of hours that it's dry? And then all of a sudden it's full of pee. That means that they're holding and then letting a big whoosh out. These are all the good signs. And you don't need to have all of these. You just need to have one and a hunch. That's what I call it. One, a mommy hunch, or a daddy hunch, or a grandma or grandpa hunch, or a caretaker hunch. I want to include everybody. But all you need is just that feeling like, I think it's time. I think we're ready. By the way, when I did this with my kids, I don't even remember. I doubtful they had any of these potty readiness signs. I was such a nut. Anyway, okay. So once we do this, we want to choose a good time to start potty training. So you won't want to potty train when you're in the middle of a move, when a new baby is here, or like, I don't know, eminently going to be here any second. You want to make sure that you're not going through a divorce. There's no death. There's no change of job. You want to make sure that everything is super neutral in the house. You don't all have COVID. Want to make sure that everything is really calm in the house and as neutral can be. You don't want to do it when you're about to go on a big trip. You want to really just kind of make sure that you're in a place where you can focus on this. So what I tell my parents is I like to have like a 3-day intensive, and we're going to talk about like doing it kind of intensive and then kind of doing it as you go along after work on the weekends. I don't care which way you do it. I just want to make sure that when we're committed, that's it. We're committed. We're doing this and we're seeing it through to the end. The number one reason why we have 100% success rate in my program is because that's it. Once we're committed, we are seeing this through. We do not quit until this result has happened. So, of course, there could be situations where you're in the middle of it and the child gets sick and you have to pause. But then I don't consider that starting over. I don't consider that quitting. I consider, okay, we just hit a bump in a road, which is to be expected. There will be bumps. There will be shit and piss accidents. But we are still moving forward towards progress. It's all in our thinking, 100%. So we want to make sure that when we choose our time, we can do it. There's nothing crazy going on in our schedules, nothing crazy going around the household, and then we get to it. So I usually like to give myself about a week to prepare. I like to make a big deal about it, like a big build-up. I do this even when we go on trips and stuff. I'll like set like these cool little calendars with these little rings, and every day my kid will take a ring off, a little paper ring I would create, and each day it gets closer to the big day, which is the potty training day. So what I do with my kids is say, guess what? On Saturday, 7 days from now, we are going to have this amazing potty training experience. No more diapers. You're going to be just like me and Daddy, and you're going to wear underwear. You're blowing this up into this big thing. And we're going to have so much fun when we do this, kiddo. I am going to get you I'm going to get you the coolest underwear ever. If your child, my daughter loved Dora the Explorer, we got her Dora the Explorer underwear. If your child likes Spider-Man, your child likes Marvel heroes, SpongeBob, whatever. You're going to go out and you're going to find the most amazing underwear. You're going to show it to them like, look, this is it. 7 more days, whatever date you pick. You're going to get to try these on. I'm so excited for you. Then what you want to do is you're going to make the decision if you're going to do it on a potty seat or if you're going to do it in a little potty chair. So the potty seat is the insert that goes on your potty, or you're going to do it in a potty chair. So I personally like an insert into a big potty because that's kind of one less step. But if you feel that your child would benefit, maybe they're a little nervous about sitting on the big potty, no problem. You can always do the seat and then transition to the chair. A note here as well is we want to be super mindful of potty phobia. So what is that? So that means that anytime you present the idea of potty training, you present the idea of sitting on the toilet, they go running, screaming in the other direction. So what we do, I like to call this as like running programs. And the whole process of potty training, if you wrote out all the steps from start to finish, it's actually a pretty lengthy, process. There's all these separate steps. You're going to walk into the bathroom, you're going to pull down your pants, you're going to sit on the toilet, you're going to eliminate in the toilet, you're going to get up, you're going to wipe, you're going to put toilet paper in the toilet paper, you're going to flush, all that jazz. All of that is what I consider like like a big program for potty training. When we look at this list of things, and I do this with all goals, by the way, so this is my handy dandy tip for today. If you want to look at your child achieving any type of goal, whether it's to go get their hair cut by a barber, brush their own teeth, whatever the case may be, you want to be able to list out exactly what's involved in mastering this skill, and then kind of see where your child is on that chart. So if we're right at the point of like, all right, going into the bathroom and sitting down, right? And your child has an issue with that, then we have to take that piece of the actual potty training, pull it out, and actually make it separate from the rest. And we're going to run a program just to get the child to sit on the potty. So if your child has potty phobia, we need to look at what it is that they don't like. Will they sit on it? Will they touch it? Do they not like when it flushes? We got to try and figure out where we are in that part of the potty training process, and then we can actually get into potty training. So what I tell parents is that if they won't even sit on the potty, we don't just assume that we're going to go full throttle in and potty train. We are actually just going to work the first program, which is going to be just getting them to sit. And what I have them do is, if they're not even willing to sit, I just have them like just be in the room with the potty. And we set that up. I like to go up to 5 minutes, where we start in intervals of toleration. So if they can tolerate 30 seconds, then the next time we go in there, I'll do this up to 4 times a day. I'll run the program and say, okay, if you can go up to 45 seconds, I'm going to give you tickles. If you can go up to a minute, I'm going to give you a piggyback ride around the house. You see what I'm saying? So there's a reward for the longer that they can tolerate it. We want to get it up to between 3 and 5 minutes, enough to get a full pee or poop done. So once you get it up to the point where they can just be in the room with the potty, then it's like, all right, let's sit on it with clothes on. And then the same thing. All right, how long can they sit clothes on before they start getting antsy? You don't want to hold them down. They've got to sit willingly. What can I do to entertain them while they're sitting? You can show them a book. You maybe give them the iPad. I'm not big on that for this part of it, not because most of the time iPad is such a high reward. I actually like to use it for potty training, but just if we're dealing with severe, you're really going to have to go with your gut on this. Like if we were dealing with really severe potty phobia, we're going to do whatever we need to do to get the child to want to sit up to 5 minutes. And it's the same thing here. You can go as fast or as slow as you want. I was thinking, I'm just going to tell this quick story. I'm potty training my cats, and I moved the litter boxes. The first step is to move the litter boxes from where they normally are to the bathroom. And we had the first night we had shit on the floor. And I was going to take it and put it back where it was, and then every day move it closer towards the bathroom. And our behaviorist, who's here for Juliana, said, why don't you just put it outside the bathroom and see what you get? And I said, oh, that's a good idea. And I did that, and I saved myself a bunch of steps by going that way. So I'm saying the same thing for you. You can decide, okay, maybe we're gonna go right to pants off sitting. But if your child is really adverse to that, you can always step back and say, okay, I'm going to do pants on first. So I'm going to have them sit with pants on, see how long they could sit. Up to 5 minutes is ideal because that's enough time for a pee or poop to come out. And then once I get that neutral from pants on, then I can do pants off, do the same intervals. Your first test with pants off. When you go to the next step in the goals, you want to make sure you start at you're doing testing, right? So there's no pass or fail here. So you have them take their pants off and say, okay, I want you to sit. And let's see how long they can sit. And that's going to be your baseline. How long they can sit comfortably. Not with you holding them down. We never hold them down without them wincing or trying to pop back up. get your timer out and see how long they'll be able to sit. And then you're going to build that up. And once you've got that mastered, then we go on to the next set of steps in the actual potty training process. Okay? So once we've decided, we've mastered our potty phobia, they sit without issue, we've decided potty seat or little potty chair, then we're going to actually get into our potty plan. So while we're doing all of this, while we're doing all our prep work and we've set our date, and I like to set like a week out in advance, and the reason I do that is to create that excitement that I'm telling you about. If you're going to be using an iPad for reinforcer for this, you want to think about, and we're going to talk about reinforcers in a minute, that if you're giving yourself a week or two to plan this out, we want to start to build desire for this grand event when it's coming. For them and for you. We want to really set you both up for potty success here. So what we want to do is we want to figure out first when we're doing it, then we're going to make sure that we create a potty plan. So in that process of when you're like, okay, it's a week out, 2 weeks out, I want you to start to collect data on your child. So every hour while they're, playing or at school, you can give it to the school. There's data collection sheets online for potty training. Schools might even already have their own. You just print one out and you say, okay, I want to know when every hour, if the diaper's wet, dry, if there's a bowel movement. And that's going to start to help you to understand patterns about your child, give you more of an idea of what kind of schedule you need to start with. Depending on the age of your child, the older they are, the longer they can hold it. It's going to give you a general idea of like how often you should take them. 5 days of data is usually what I tell my clients. That usually gives you enough information to really kind of put your potty plan in place. In the meantime, while you're collecting your data, getting your underwear, thinking about your reinforcers, which is what we're going to talk about next, you are going to build them up. Everything they watch is potty books, potty movies, potty cartoons, you're telling potty stories, singing potty songs. Everything about the build-up is helping to create the desire to want to partake in this potty Disney experience when the day comes that you start. Okay? The next part of this is selecting the reinforcer. So what's a reinforcer? A reinforcer is something positive that the child receives from making progress with potty training. So we have to be really clear. This is probably the heart of all goals that you want to try and work on your child, is if we want a preferred behavior to happen over and over and over again, we want to repeat it. And I'm going to go back to my cat example. They love Temptations, and we love to just feed them Temptations whenever they want all day. They're so cute. They cry for it. They meow for it. They get up on their two paws for it. Now we're trying to teach them a new behavior. And I want to reward that behavior with something very, very valuable. So now we've started to withhold those treats. And they're going nuts because they don't understand. They used to be able to have access to this anytime. They'd give us the cute face. They'd get up on their toes. We'd hand it to them. Now they're crying up a storm. They don't understand what's going on. And because I am withholding this desired item, and I'm only using it when I see them eliminate where they're supposed to go. So now their brains are making the connection that every time I poop and pee in this thing, she's getting it. I used to do this before, I'd never get rewarded. Now I'm peeing and pooping this, I'm getting rewarded. This is great. You understand what I'm saying? So now they understand the terms of what gets them the treats. And that's the same thing we're going to pick for a reinforcer for our child. But here's the thing. We have to look at their day, what they do with their day, and pick the thing that is the absolute most desired. And that thing may be something that they have unlimited access to right now, like an electronic device, like an iPhone or an iPad or a tablet. And we have to say, okay, if there's other things that they'll do anything for, like candy, bubbles, car rides, whatever, I'm for it. I'm all for it. The idea for me as your coach is to getting your child potty trained as quickly as possible. And the quickest way you're going to do that is to take the most desired thing out of their environment and allow them only to have access to it when they go pee and poop in the potty. So, in this example, I mean, I've had parents do it with things that kids stim on. We have parents that do it with little Matchbox cars that they would wrap. I had parents build out these beautiful treasure chests and throw a bunch of candies in it and say, guess what? All these candies are yours. And anytime you go pee and poop on the potty, you're going to get to pick one. This is such an important part of the process, because if this is not on point, if it is not the most desired thing, the potty training process is going to hit more road bumps than it needs. And another note on reinforcements or rewards is that they can be changing. So if the potty training process is taking us a week, 2 weeks, a month, 2 months, right? And I hope that it's not going to take that long. But if it does, it doesn't matter how long it takes because we're committed, right? Even in my worst thought process of potty training my kids from the shittiest mindset, it took us probably about 6 months for each kid to really be 100% fully potty trained because of my shitty thoughts. But I was committed. I did not give up until I got that result. So one of the things I want to mention about rewards and reinforcements is that you could start with like Milky Ways, like, oh my God, they love candy, they love M&Ms, Milky Ways, whatever, right? And it's so great. And after a couple of weeks, all of a sudden, it's not worth the effort anymore. So once I start to see that the desire for the item has decreased, I've got to come up with something new that is going to have a higher value and desire. You want the desire to be like 10 times the ask. That's my general rule. At least 10 times the ask. The more, the better. You can get 20 times the ask, 50 times the ask. Now we're cooking. The better, the more the ask is, the more the desire is so high that you could pretty much ask for anything in return because its value to ask is so wide. So when it comes to this, a lot of parents hesitate to use the iPad because they've used the iPad for other things. The iPad could be like, their way of getting their work done or getting cooking done or chores done, and they give it to the child. And I get that. And I'm not saying that you can't have that again, but if we can't figure out any other reinforcer for the child, we need to take our power back with this. We're going to have to find something else to occupy the child with. This isn't forever, too, by the way. This is just temporary. And that's another thing to remind ourselves as we're going through the potty training process. My cats have pissed on my curtains. They've shit on the floor. Somebody peed on the bath rug. I've got the full-on bottles of, the Nature's Miracle and all this other shit. I'm committed to this. So I'm like, all right, it's going to be a little uncomfortable right now. I'm kind of, a little, there's times where this sucks, but I'm just going to push through. And it's the same thing for you too. You're committed to this result. You're going to do what it takes. And if it means we've got to pull that iPad and only give it for pee and poop, then that's what we're going to do. Okay? All right. So basically, after you figured out when you're going to potty train, what the plan's going to look like, then you want to be able to make sure you're choosing words that everybody is going to generalize. So it's like, all right, time to go potty. And if you have a child that's pre-verbal, you can pair that with either a picture of the potty or a sign. But I'm not asking for any type of communication. I'm just trying to bring the awareness to the child of what my vocal, my gesture, what my picture represents. So as soon as you set your schedule, you set your timers, we're going to go over that next. You're going to say, okay, time to go potty. This is what we do for Juliana. We'd shake a fist in the air and I'd say it the same exact way. And I'd make like this face, because the reason why I put so much like animation to this is because I want to eventually fade out as much of the prompt as possible so that she could start to do this on her own. Okay. So then, you're going to pick your time on when you're going to do this. You're going to figure out, okay, we're gonna set a specific time for this. And there's 2 ways that I like to potty train. So there's the first way, which is my kind of intensive way. So basically, I like to I'd like to bang out a real intensive experience over the course of 3 days, or I can just start as soon as they get home from school, pull off the diaper, put on the underwear, and let's start the process. It's honestly up to you. I like an intensive because it gives me a lot of data, and it works the child and it works me, not just physically, but mentally too. Like, I'm looking at this baby and I'm learning things about them. I'm looking at things I've never even looked at before. I'm being more aware of things I've never been aware of before because I've been running around in the diaper the whole time. I'm going to start to notice when they're right about to pee. I'm going to start to notice what their pattern is when they want to go poop. So that's why I like an intensive, because it's basically an intensive. The way it looks is that you're kind of, you and the child are picking the day and the time this is going to happen. Well, you're picking the day and the time it's going to happen. Then you're going to lock yourself in a room with the potty chair or a room next to the potty seat. So the child cannot go anywhere without you seeing it. And we're preparing ourselves. Like, all right, guys, I'm not cleaning the house this weekend. We're ordering pizza this weekend. I am sitting in this room with this child from the minute they wake up to the minute they go to bed, and we are going on a potty schedule to the potty. So that's the intensive. And you do that for 3 days. Now, a lot of the times we'll get children that are pretty much potty trained, 80% success by third or fourth day of doing that. And then we can go into a lighter schedule where it's like, all right, we're just going to set schedule based upon the experience we've had over the last couple of days. Or if that's not your jam, then you can also decide to do it in like spurts. So where you can kind of just get the child exposed to it. You can set intervals of like, okay, when I get home from work, I'm just going to cook dinner. And then after dinner's done and ready to eat, I'm going to, as soon as the child gets off the bus, I'm going to put them in the underwear. And between underwear and bedtime, I'm going to focus as much as I can and take them at set intervals and see how we do. This isn't a problem one. This is actually probably... It's not, honestly, it's either flavor is fine by me. It's just I always I want to get you the results as quickly as possible. That's why I like intensive. And you're basically going to do the same thing. You're going to set a schedule. You're going to figure out, the tells. You're going to have to be somewhat aware so that you can see accidents happening or about to happen, and you're going to get on it. The idea with this one is there's no, I don't want you to feel pressure, or if it's not possible for you to focus like that or stay in a room with them for 3 days, that you have this option. The only caveat I want to say is that if this takes longer and it has more accidents, you are committed regardless. No matter what happens, we are not stopping till this baby is potty trained. Okay. All right, so once we've decided how we're going to potty train, we've got our underwear, we've got our cool potty books. I think Daniel Tiger's got a bunch of cool potty stuff going on. Elmo's got a great potty song. We're all into this. We got the cool potty seat. We've got the reinforcers. And I'm going to say this too, again, with the reinforcers. Let's say your child loves Matchbox cars. And you could have a box that you decorate, right? You could have a regular brown Amazon box. You could put the cars and say, hey, guess what? You go pee on the potty, you get these cars. Now, the car is super high value. But how can I even increase its value more? If the value of that is a 10, how can I make it a 12 or a 15? What if I decorated the Amazon box? We colored it together, made pretty pictures of cars and put stickers on it, right? Put the baby's name on it. You see how I'm saying? I'm increasing the desire around the reward. Then I say, what if I wrapped all of these little Matchbox cars? I wrap them. If they really love to unwrap presents, what if I just wrap all of these little Matchbox cars and I throw them in the box? And then I put it up on a shelf in the bathroom or very close to where the bathroom is that he or she can see them, but she cannot have access to them. So it's always a reminder to them that this thing is there waiting for them when they go pee or poop. See how I could just present a Matchbox car in a plastic bag or a brown box, or I can create what looks like a treasure chest, and I can wrap them. You see how you're taking that very desired thing and creating even more desire around it. It's just making it almost so irresistible for the kid that they can't think about anything else other than getting this, and they're in. They want to know how they can get access to this thing. Okay? All right, so once we've got all that set up, you want to always make sure, another reminder on reinforcements is make sure that they are readily available and instantly you can give them to your child. As soon as they pee or poop, you want to instantly give them the reward so that they can make the connection. Oh, I went in here and that's why I got this. Okay. And that's the first part of the potty training process, is teaching them, pee and poop go here. Everyone's my child's, they don't talk and they may have severe autism symptoms. And I just don't see how they're going to get this. And that's a bullshit thought. So I just challenge that when it comes up. That's just a thought. That's not necessarily true. And guess what? Even neurotypical children are in the same boat as maybe your pre-verbal autistic child. Nobody knows what you want us to do. All I know is up until this point, when stuff's ready to come out of my bum, I just let it out into my diaper. Everyone needs to be taught that you want it to go in a specific place. Everyone starts at the same level, same playing field. In fact, everything I'm showing you and talking to you about today is the exact way I trained my neurotypical son. Not even anything different. Okay. All right, so now what we're going to do is we're going to start to get our system together. So once we've decided how we're doing it, underwear, reinforcer check, what days, what kind of intensive or relaxed method we're going to use, then we're going to get ready. We're going to have, when we do our sessions, we're going to make sure we have a lot of salty snacks and drinks. Anything they want to drink. I don't even care. There's obviously no alcohol, but anything outside of that. They want soda, they want juice, they want water, they want chocolate milk, they want milkshakes, whatever they want. The idea here is to get them eating salty things, drinking as much as possible so we can get a lot of ability to have pee going on. If it seems like they're catching on to you, like I'm not drinking because I know that we're going to go to the potty and I'm scared of going to the potty. I don't know what we're doing here. And I'm terrified of what's going on here and I don't want to have an accident because I don't like how it feels in my underwear. Then you can start running them around the yard, running them around the room, really build up like physical activity to get things moving. You're really just going to go all out to encourage them to drink and eat so that you get more abilities to actually get pee or poop. And here is the next step. Now you're going to decide whether you do intensive or you do more of like a chill method, how often you're going to take them to the potty. So what I do, if I'm doing an intensive, for example, I get them up. I say, guess what? Today's the day. Let's go. I rip off that pull-up. No more pull-ups. I'm committed. I throw that shit out. All of it's out the door. We only got underwear now, and we go right to the potty as soon as we get up. We sit for 5 minutes. We talk. I sometimes run the water. We're having fun. I usually sit with them for the first time they sit. I say, okay, we didn't go. You get up. You throw on the drawers, and you remind them, hey, look, up there, that treasure chest, that's all yours. All those toys are yours. Whenever you go pee or poop, you get to pick one thing out of that treasure chest just for you. Whatever it is that you've put in there. Candies, cheese puffs, I don't care. And a reminder, another stern reminder, whatever we pick for reinforcement, they cannot have access to it, ideally for a week, up until potty training. So that means by the time it's presented to them again, they're like, I want this. I'll do anything to have this. Okay? We're still, by withholding, we are also increasing that desire, right? I'll do anything to have access to this again. Okay? So then once I've decided that, okay, I can make it, I can start my my potty training process. If I have a younger child, I would do a 5 minutes on, 10 minutes off. That's what I like to start with. And then I can build out, and then I'm going to take data as I'm doing this. So that way that'll tell me how much I can spread the windows out. So I start with 5 minutes on, 10 minutes off. When you start with such a tight window, one of two things are going to happen. When the child's sitting there reading a book or just hanging out, playing with their little toys while they're sitting on the potty or just sitting there, they're going to accidentally pee. And when they do, and this is why you have to be so close by and so kind of connected to the child, it's almost like we're reattaching the umbilical cord during the potty training process, is you want to be able to say, oh my gosh, good job. Or if they don't like loud noises, oh my gosh, good job. And you're going to grab the reinforcement, you're going to praise the shit out of this, and you're going to immediately give them access to the reward. So either that's going to happen, or you're going to be running around the room and you're going to be watching them because you're watching them like, you want to be watching them pretty intently. You're going to start to see pee run down their leg. And you're going to pick them up. You're going to run them to the bathroom. And as long as some pee or poop land in the potty, they get the reward. And then we just do this over and over and over. And we keep practicing, testing, tweaking, practicing, testing, tweaking, testing. We keep doing this, keep doing this, keep doing this. And as time goes on, if we stay consistent, stay out of our fucking head and make any accident mean whatever, we will have a potty trained child at the end of the day. Okay, so after that, I want to talk specifically, really quickly about poop. Oh, we're already over 30 minutes. I'm going to go really quickly into poop and nighttime, and then this is really the heart of everything. You've got my whole package here, right, in two calls. Really quickly, for poop. If we have some families that have issues with, okay, we get pee down, but we have issues with poop. This is normal. Don't make it like I have a unicorn, I have this problem that can't be solved. Remember, the whole potty training process, we write out a list from start to finish. We may have to take sections of the whole potty training process and run separate programs for them. So if we get past potty phobia was its own program. Okay, then we start potty training. Okay, pee turned out to be its own program. Okay, got it. Now we've got poop. We don't look at this as a fail. We don't look at this as a step back. We don't look at this as anything as fucking data. Data is neutral. Okay? And I say, okay, we have this issue with poop. So then it's the same thing. We look at what's worked for pee up until this point, and then we start thinking about a new plan for poop. Basically, the general consensus, as long as they are not having any medical issues, if they are, we need to resolve those first. Then we can go into potty training. I said that earlier in the call. But then also, we want to make sure that we are taking data throughout this process. And you will start to see that they poop at very specific times. It'll be right after lunch. It'll be right after they get off the bus, right before bed, whatever the case may be. What you're going to do is, as they learn to potty train, whether pee and poop, you're going to start widening the window of when you get them to go. So if they were going every you had them on 5 minutes on, 10 minutes off, and they've had 100% success, or even 80% or success or better, you can start widening that window. And what ends up happening is that you'll end up taking them maybe every hour. And everyone shits on this process too. They're like, all right, they go pee and poop, but I always have to tell them when to go. And I'm like, yeah, what's the problem? Because that's what you'd have to do for a neurotypical child as well, by the way. First you tell them pee and poop go here, and then you have to tell them when to go. And even to this day, my daughter is 9, my boy is 7. All right, we're getting in the car, we're going to the beach, everybody go potty. Oh, no, I don't have to. Nope, everyone's going to try. You have a potty trained child on a schedule right now. We just need to keep working to fine tune that. But this is a part of the process. So you don't have to shit on this part of the process. It's actually, every child has this where you now have to tell them when to go. And then what ends up happening is we start widening the window. We're still reinforcing. And when you're widening the window, one of two things is going to happen. Either they're going to have an accident, or nature's going to call, and because they've practiced this so much with you, they're going to run themselves to the bathroom. They're going to find you, and you're both going to go to the bathroom together. And this is pretty much my potty training in a nutshell. But if we have a separate situation with poop, I actually think probably should have just did poop in its own call. Anyway, that good thought for one other time. I'm going to do a quick outline of poop issues, and then maybe I'm going to do another podcast specific to frequently asked questions around pooping. We're going to look at the poop process. We're going to say, okay, from pooping, same thing. I'm going to take data when they're going. And instead of like maybe if I'm only at an hour, every hour now for pee, when it comes time for that window between 4 and 6, when I know they poop, I'm going to bring that window in. I'm going to try it every 30 minutes. And I'm going to look for tells. And I'm going to look at my reinforcer. Maybe it's enough to go pee, but it's not enough to go poop. Do I need to up the ante? Do I need to give them double reinforcement? Something completely different. We really have to get like granular around the process, become real detectives, real data collectors, and see how I could tweak and test this so I can do what I did for pee, for spotty phobia, for pee, come up with a separate program for poop. A lot of the steps are the same, but maybe I'm going to look at the reinforcers different. Maybe I'm going to look at the schedule more intently. And apply it to poop. At the end of the day, we are committed. We are not giving up. And I've just decided I'm going to do the next podcast. We're going to talk about all the issues that may come up around poop, because I want to end this one right here. I think I've given you a lot of information. I hope it's helpful, and I will see you next time. Let's talk about some shit. Bye, everybody.